Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Let me just begin by saying what a joy it is to be here with each one of you. Just to be here, nothing to do at this moment except to be your wonderful self and to be open and receptive to the spiritual teachings which will come forth. Just be peaceful. Just be your good self. Just a couple of announcements before we begin today. First of all, we had such a wonderful open forum last Sunday evening. We'll be doing another one in another week, but the open forum will be the basis of my talk today, so you'll hear more about it. And then secondly, if any of you still will be joining us for the seminar next Saturday, From Earthling to Cosmic Being, we ask that you do register in the next day or two so we can mail you the appropriate packet. With that in mind, let's begin our teaching today. Again, let me just say what a joy it is to greet you in this weekly teaching. It's just nice to be here with you. I'm especially enthusiastic this week because of the first session we had last Sunday evening in our open forum meeting. The meeting was precisely what it was intended to be, an open forum, to discuss anything on our members' minds. Few of us, however, expected the richness of such an evening. It far exceeded my expectations, said one of my members. After a lovely opening song by one of our members, entitled Ordinary Miracles, the first question elicited responses for the next 45 minutes. The question was, do animals and plants have consciousness? Well, to say the least, there was a variety of opinions, a variety of responses, each of which was respectfully received by the 30 of us who attended the session. Some people talked about their pets seeming to have certain emotions and feelings, while other people shared conversations they had as they hugged a tree and felt its energy, and that whales and dolphins are considered to be guardians of the planet with guardian responsibilities. And of course, we made the proper distinctions to discern between differences between instinct and choice, and between communication and projection of human feelings. The result of the evening, it was quite exciting, quite exhilarating. And it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking about human consciousness, about human awareness. What does it mean for human beings to be conscious, to be self-aware beings? It is this topic of self-awareness that I would like to present in this week's teaching. I will start with the work of Stephen Covey, then make some enhancements to his work by Deepak Chopra, and then finally conclude with some observations about the group dynamics that we experience at the open forum. Let's begin first of all with the wonderful work of Stephen Covey, presented in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. My presumption is that many of you have read this book. The book itself was a #1 national bestseller, as it deserved to be, because in it, Covey simply stated that there are 7 habits that highly effective people have exhibited in history. And the book contains those habits, those 7 habits of highly effective people. Principles that have an application not only throughout history, but also in today's history, today's current days as well. And while the examples are somewhat dated, it continues to be a great read. I personally have read the book 3 times because it's quite meaningful to me. Quite rare that I do that, but it indicates what I consider to be a very, very good read and speaks to the worth of the book. Now, tying the book to our open forum discussion on conscious beings, and without going through all 7 of Covey's habits, I feel that Covey's first habit is the one that speaks most to our open forum discussion on human self-awareness. Covey's first habit is presented in the following way. Simply stated, it says, be proactive. He then goes to explain what he means to be proactive. Obviously, it means not to be reactive, simply reacting to what's going on, but rather being proactive is to base your life on deeply held principles and not superficial things that quickly fade. So true. To base your life on deeply held principles and not the superficial things of life. But what struck me about Covey's first habit is the threefold analysis that he gave to it. It is this threefold analysis that is quite in line with higher spiritual principles. His first point in what highly effective people understand is that they are a self-aware being. By self-aware, Covey simply means that there is an I in charge of you. You have an I that is in charge of you. You are your own self, and there is no one who is guiding you except yourself. There is no one to blame. There is no circumstance that arises with which you cannot deal. You are your own self, fully free to act. This is the first step in being proactive, realizing that you are a self that is aware. The second step is likewise exhilarating. It follows from the first step. Because a highly effective person is self-aware, it easily follows that a highly effective person creates the reality of their lives by the choices that they make. Each highly effective person knows that they are creating the substance and the effects that show up in their lives. Each highly effective person happily takes the responsibility of being the creator of their own lives. And just as a highly effective person does not rely on others for their creations, they clearly know, the highly effective person clearly knows that their thoughts will become their outcomes. That no one can tell you what to think, but you will become whatever you think. The third notion of Covey's first habit of being proactive follows from, first of all, being self-aware, and then secondly, creating your own reality. His third habit is, there is no relationship and there is no situation in which you are stuck. Let me say this again. Because you are a self-aware being who has your own I, and because you create your reality from your free will, there is no relationship or situation that binds you in which you become stuck. While Covey was not the first one to present this view, in fact, one of my favorite Greek philosophers, Epictetus, was fond of saying that even when death occurs, when that death is clearly understood, a loved one can be viewed in a very constructive manner, which I deeply appreciated when my dear wife Anne passed very unexpectedly. Covey helped people to see that the acceptance of what needs to be accepted, when understood from being a self-aware being and one that creates your reality, gives so much more guidance to our lives. Such wisdom from highly effective beings greatly enhance us. Now, speaking of enhancements, let me now turn to an enhancement of Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The particular book is one by Deepak Chopra, and it's simply called The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success. I'll leave it up to you. This book, published 4 years after The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, as to whether or not Deepak was responding to Covey's challenge. What I find in Deepak's book is an enhancement to Covey's notion. Let me explain them as best I can. The first law in Deepak's book, The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success, one that's very, very interesting, is the law of pure potentiality. The law of pure potentiality. Let me now explain that law to you. What becomes very important is that you'll be able to see that Deepak's law of pure potentiality far exceeds Covey's first concept of being proactive. Rather than seeing Covey's highly effective person as just being self-aware, Deepak sees self-awareness to be connected to the God image that is within you. Let me just say it again. Rather than seeing Covey's notion of being self-aware as a human being, Deepak sees self-awareness as being connected to your universal spiritual guidance. Behind the finite human being of Covey, is the infinite being of Deepak's God spirit. Do you see this? You are a participation in a greater being. Your I is not just the little you, but your I, self-aware, is a participation in the God spirit. You have not left your source, as the Course in Miracles states so well. Do you clearly understand this enhancement to simply human self-awareness? You are spiritually aware, spiritually connected. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, Deepak says that you not only create your reality, as Covey stated, but you do so as an infinite field of possibility. Let me explain. You are not limited by your past, previous human experiences, but rather you have every possibility of both human and spiritual choices available to you. So you're not just limited by your past human experience, but in addition to that, you also have the rich spiritual possibilities available to you. And you create your reality from the certainty and the confidence that the divine being, far beyond your limited human perspective, enables you to do. Do you understand this? You're not limited by past experiences simply from a human perspective, but you have the possibility of a wide variety of human and spiritual principles from which to choose. And to have the confidence and the strength to be able to develop your future from these possibilities. A last enhancement. And lastly, not only does Deepak say that you are never stuck, but what his basic idea would be is that there is a divine order to your experiences. It's not just that you're never stuck, but there's a divine order to what is occurring. so that if something is happening to you, it is meant to be happening to you for your growth. Do you understand this? Not just something that's happening to you, but it's a valuable lesson for your growth. And again, recalling my wife's passing, I began to realize that that was an opportunity for my growth. I began to see that because it happened for my growth. As you can plainly see, the open forum discussion on consciousness, especially concerning human consciousness, had a great impact upon me. It helped me to know that I am truly a self-aware being, connected to my source, that I do create my reality for my own inner guidance, and that if something is happening to me, it is meant to be. It is meant to be for my growth. So appreciative of what we discussed. Let me now, however, then bring a few more observations to our open forum meeting. As I mentioned, I want to make some important observations on the meeting, important for the ongoing growth of you and me. These are my observations. First of all, a comment from Aristotle. Aristotle was fond of saying that if you want to advance in knowledge, then you must discuss the most important things, more than just the weather, more than just politics, more than just sports, or even religion. You must discuss what advances your growth. I believe that that is exactly what we do in our study groups and now in our open forum sessions. We take the time to discuss the things that are important to us, but which we often do not bring up in ordinary conversation because it just doesn't seem like these things are important to others. Our open forum is precisely this, to discuss what is on our minds, what is really important to us. Secondly, it is wonderful. It is wonderful to see the respectfulness that we show to each other. What is of interest to one is highly supported to everyone and by everyone. But here's the important point. When a question is raised, we realize that the group's wisdom far exceeds the wisdom of any one person. Probably the best experience of our open forum, in a sense, is the testimony to this truth, that group thought adds so much more than simply individual thought. We understand the principles that no one of us is as good as all of us, and all of us are better than any of us. We get it. We get it. And third and lastly, it was quite a thrill. It was really quite a thrill to have a group experience. Not just an individual experience, but the feeling of being a part of something bigger, a place where you fit in, a place where you want to belong. May I suggest this group experience was comprised of three particular things, which just raises me up. It inspires me. First of all, there was a group consciousness. A group consciousness. We were really on the same page. It was quite interesting to all of us. It was quite informative to all of us. Having such an inclusive experience helps us then to understand the second point, namely the oneness among our members. We all were all about the same thing. Our goal is to bring peace to the world, to raise the consciousness of the planet, to bring heaven to earth. It is so refreshing. It is so refreshing to be in agreement with others from our heart levels. It is so refreshing to be in agreement with others from our heart levels, in addition to simply our mental level. Which leads me to the third point. Being in agreement from the heart level led to a sense of love for each other. A sense of love for each other. Many of us did not even know the names of the other people participating. Many of us do not know their personalities. But what we did know was the love that we felt. This is quite an experience to have at any time in human history, but especially at this time in human history, to have a group experience, a group feeling of knowing what is truly possible, to be in a group where there is respect, oneness, and love. It's just so nice to know that this is possible, for it is this possibility to which we have pledged ourselves. It is this possibility that we know is our possibility. In conclusion, may I simply repeat this last line. In today's world, it is just so nice to know that a group experience of respect, oneness, and love is possible. Such a clear possibility is what moves us forward with great hope and great confidence. Oh yes, one final point. Initially, we had planned to have one open forum a month. The first session was so moving that we will now have a second open forum twice a month on the first and third Sundays of the month from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We welcome your presence. Let me now lead you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let us begin as we are wont to do by simply focusing on the breath, just allowing the breath, its natural rhythm, to be our guide. Allow your breath to settle you, just breathing in, breathing out, feeling that rhythm. Allow your mind and body to become settled and bring your soul to the fore. Please begin. And let me now ask that, having become settled, that you simply go within. You know how to do it. Go within and to realize your sense of self. Would you realize that you are self-aware? Do you not see that you are running your own show? Would you just say these words to yourself? Here I am. Here I am. Or perhaps this phrase, this is me. This is me. And now for the enhancement. Now for the enhancement. Do you not see that you are a participation in a larger being? Do you not see that your I is not independent, but participates in a larger universal energy? Allow your soul, allow your sense of self to expand into this larger energy. It knows what to do. And when you create, as each one of us must do, as you create from this larger energy. It far exceeds your limited human experiences. Your limited human experiences are precisely that. They are limited human experiences. They have more questions than answers, more uncertainties than confidence. Never quite sure. But when you raise your self-awareness into spiritual principles, the spiritual principles give you the guidance. Such spiritual principles as the God Spirit is with you all the time. As long as you focus on it, your strength and confidence will be there. Spiritual principles such as do not bring judgment or criticism to your neighbor, but rather understanding and love. Knowing that they are going through the same experiences perhaps that you previously had, or maybe still have. Do you not clearly see the enhancement to creating your life? Not from limited human experiences, but rather from the guidance of spiritual principles. And lastly, if something is happening to you, do you not see that there's such a difference in being fearful of that event as opposed to seeing it in divine order as growthful? This is not always easy to see at the beginning, but it is the truth. If it's happening to you, It's happening for your growth. I'll just say it again. If it's happening to you, it's happening for your growth. It may not be your immediate preference. It may not be what you want at that moment, but it will be growthful. It's easy to get stuck, even for a highly effective person, in the events of life. Anxiety, uncertainty, fear. They easily come upon us. That's why we need enhancement. That we are self-aware, but connected to Source. What a difference. That we create our reality not from limited human experiences, but from divine principles, from spiritual possibilities. And what a difference. And you're never stuck. You're never stuck. Such moments turn into moments of growth. When we remember our connection to the God Spirit and its possibilities for us. Now there's one very important last point. What you are thinking right now is what I am thinking. And what all of us together here this morning are thinking. We are moving far beyond separated personalities into a loving oneness. We have to help each other, encourage and support each other. But this is a clear direction. We are moving into a respectful, global, loving oneness. This is what a really highly effective person knows. They have been spiritually enhanced by the spiritual laws of success.
Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste.
It's a good thing to be a highly effective person. It's a lot more enhancing to be a spiritually successful soul. I'm happy that we know the difference, and may we just continue to support each other. Each of us is a wonderful being. May we realize our blessedness and continue to assist each other to experience this goodness. Namaste, dear one. Namaste.